Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to laugh? Direct from theaters, comedy clubs, corporate events, and special events across America, the man who has spent decades amazing audiences. The man who has hypnotized thousands. The man who has turned ordinary people into comedy stars. The master of hypnosis, the king of comedy confusion, the sultan of silly, the wizard of wisecracks, the one, the only, Rich Wylde. And welcome to Wild for Jokes.
Hey, thanks, Ed, for that great introduction. Welcome, everybody, to Wild for Jokes. You know, I've spent years hypnotizing people, and I've discovered something. Some people don't need hypnosis to do silly things. They woke up that way. So let's get right into the jokes. You know, I love traveling in my RV Motorcoach, mostly because every time I fill it with fuel, I feel like I should earn airline miles. The first time I drove my Motorcoach, I realized something. Everything is bigger than it looks, especially the repair bills. People ask me, how hard is it to drive a Motorcoach? Well, imagine driving your living room down the interstate during an earthquake. My wife says I'm obsessed with checking things before we leave. But when your house has wheels, you tend to double check a few things. The other day I spent 45 minutes checking tire pressure, fluid levels, and electrical connections, then forgot my coffee on the kitchen counter. RV travel is wonderful. You spend thousands of dollars so you can sleep 10 feet away from strangers. I love RV campgrounds. Everybody waves at you. Nobody knows your name, but everybody knows what kind of sewer hose you're using. You haven't experienced true pressure until you've got an audience watching you back a Motorcoach into a campsite. Suddenly, every camper becomes a professional driving instructor. Turn it more. No, less. Watch the tree. What tree? That tree. My wife is my co-pilot. By co-pilot, I mean she gasps dramatically every time I get within 20 feet of anything. The GPS in my Motorcoach has trust issues. Every 10 seconds it says, recalculating. I think it's judging me. My wife says I drive too close to the line. I told her that's because the line isn't moving. One thing I've learned about RV ownership, nothing costs less than $100. Nothing. A light bulb burns out? $100. A switch breaks? $100. A mysterious noise appears? $1,000. My favorite RV feature is the backup camera. My second favorite feature is my wife yelling over the backup camera. The Motorcoach has 6 televisions. I still can't find anything to watch. You know you're an RVer when you celebrate finding a campground with full hookups like you won the lottery. I don't even get that excited about birthdays anymore. The other day, somebody asked how many miles my Motorcoach gets. I said, depends. Sometimes miles per gallon, sometimes gallons per mile. I love campground neighbors. Within 5 minutes, they know your first name, where you're from, how long you've been married, and what medication you're taking. RV people are friendly. Suspiciously friendly. My wife told me we needed to downsize, so naturally I bought a bigger Motorcoach. I thought that's what she meant. The best part about traveling in a Motorcoach is taking your home with you. The worst part? Taking your problems with you too. I tried to leave mine behind once. My wife got back in. People think RV travel is glamorous. You know what's glamorous? Trying to dump your holding tanks while discussing dinner plans. Nothing says romance quite like that. My wife says I spend too much time polishing the Motorcoach. I told her it's an investment. She said, in what? I said, looking good while parked. The other day I got lost driving through a campground. How does that happen? The roads have names like Whispering Pines Lane, Happy Camper Circle, Sunset Trail. I spent an hour looking for our campsite and accidentally joined another family reunion. RV travel has taught me one important lesson. No matter where you go, no matter how beautiful the scenery, no matter how amazing the destination, you'll still spend 15 minutes looking for your reading glasses, and they'll still be on your head. That's RV life. And honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Well, maybe cheaper diesel. You know you're an RV owner when checking the weather becomes a full-time job. Normal people ask, is it going to rain? RV people ask, how much wind, from what direction, and will it affect my satellite dish? My wife and I love traveling in our motor coach, mostly because every wrong turn becomes a sightseeing tour. The other day I pulled into a fuel station and immediately realized I was in the wrong lane. You haven't experienced panic until you're driving 40,000 pounds of motor coach and there's no reverse option for your dignity. RV ownership teaches patience. For example, it takes me 3 minutes to make coffee at home. It takes 30 minutes to make coffee in the RV because I spend 27 minutes figuring out where my wife put the coffee. Every RV owner knows the most terrifying phrase in the English language. What's that sound? Especially when nobody knows where it's coming from. My wife asked why I always walk around the motor coach before we leave. I told her it's my pre-flight inspection, because at these fuel prices, this thing should qualify as an aircraft. People think RV travel is all about freedom, and it is. You're free to spend half your vacation looking for a dump station, campground, and motor coach-friendly roads. The other day I was bragging about our motor coach. I told my neighbor, this coach has every luxury imaginable. Then the air conditioner quit working. Timing is everything. My wife says I enjoy driving more than arriving. That's because driving is the easy part. Parking is where the marriage gets tested. Every RV trip starts exactly the same way. My wife asks, did you unplug everything? I say yes. Then we stop 3 miles down the road because neither of us is sure. RV campgrounds are amazing. You can meet complete strangers in the morning, and by dinner they're borrowing your ladder. I love how every RV owner becomes an expert. You can ask a simple question like, how do you like your refrigerator? Next thing you know, you're getting a 45-minute seminar. The best thing about RV life? The views. The worst thing? The bugs enjoying those views with you. My wife and I spent 2 hours setting up our campsite. The next morning it was time to leave. That's RV math. I know I've become a serious RVer. I judge campsites based on sewer placement. Things that would have horrified me 20 years ago now excite me. Look, honey, full hookups. RV life changes a person. The other day I spent 20 minutes discussing leveling blocks with another camper and enjoyed it. My wife says I've become obsessed with campground reviews. Of course I have. 1 star because the squirrels looked judgmental. 2 stars because the Wi-Fi had trust issues. 5 stars because the ice cream shop was within walking distance. Every motor coach owner has a toolbox, and a second toolbox, and a third toolbox, because apparently we all think we're 1 wrench away from being engineers. The other day, my wife asked if we really needed all the stuff stored underneath the coach. I told her absolutely. I just couldn't explain what any of it was. RV life is the only lifestyle where moving your house every week sounds relaxing. My wife said, let's simplify our lives. So naturally, we bought more camping gear. I don't think we're using the same definition of simplify. The funniest part of RV travel is meeting other retired people. Nobody's in a hurry. You ask what time they're leaving tomorrow. They say, probably Tuesday. It's Friday. I love campground quiet hours, mostly because I'm usually asleep before they start. The other day, a young camper asked me how long we've been RVing. I said long enough to know where every rest area and truck stop is before I know where my campsite is. That's experience. My wife says I spend too much time sitting outside the motor coach. That's because after paying for this campsite, I'm getting my money's worth. And finally, people ask why we love RV life so much. It's simple. Every day is an adventure. Every campsite has a story. Every wrong turn becomes a memory. And every trip gives my wife a brand new reason to tell me how I should have turned left back there. Well, folks, that's all the jokes I have for today. At least the ones I can remember. I want to thank each and every one of you for spending a little time laughing with me here on Wild 4 Jokes. You know, after all these years of entertaining audiences, one thing I've learned is that life is a whole lot better when you're laughing. So if you enjoyed today's jokes, do this old senior citizen a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give me a like, leave me a comment, and let me know which joke made you laugh the most. And if you didn't laugh at any of them, don't tell anybody. It'll ruin my reputation. Seriously though, every like, every comment, and every subscription helps this channel grow and lets this senior citizen know that you enjoy what I'm doing. doing. And if you know someone who could use a good laugh, share Wild 4 jokes with them. Because in today's world, we can all use a little more laughter. Until next time, keep smiling, keep laughing, and remember, you're never too old to laugh, but you're definitely too old to take life too seriously. I'm Rich Wylde, and you've been watching Wild 4 Jokes. Bye, everybody. And don't forget, laugh more, live better, stay wild.